All right, it's our official welcome to the first ever Hima Reddy Trading Tribe Town Hall. This is going to be a very open session. There are some rough guidelines so that we have some order to how we all communicate here, but really this is an opportunity for you to dive in, ask me your questions, and speak to me directly if you so choose. You can, of course, use the chat as well. So with that official welcome, we're here on Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, 8 p.m. Eastern, and because we may be looking at the markets and such directly, I obviously want to make sure that everyone is well aware of the risks involved with trading. So trading investing is extremely risky business, especially in this market environment. So it's your responsibility to evaluate any information, opinion, advice, or other content contained in our session. If you're here live, if you could do me the favor of typing the letter D for disclosure in the chat, that you understand the risks involved with trading. You're here for education. You are taking responsibility for your own actions in your trading and ready to dive in. Okay, beautiful. So if you're just coming in, I'm just going to repeat our little guidelines here and get us going. So we have a little agenda in the emails bringing you in and reminding you. This is a Zoom meeting, which is different than a Zoom webinar. So a couple guidelines to get us going. First of all, you are being muted upon entry. Just stay muted. You'll have plenty of opportunity to engage with me and your fellow traders. I'll let you know when we're ready for that. If you haven't already, please let us know in the chat where you are located, if you feel like sharing that, what market you trade. That's always great for some perspective. And if you want a fun fact about yourself, just something to unite with your fellow tribe members here. Now, we are recording, as you just saw, and if the recording comes through, because things happen, can't promise, we will load this directly to my YouTube channel as a public video, okay? Because this is open session. This isn't like private for certain members and this and that. And if you're stuck on what to ask me, okay? Because I know some of you maybe came here and you're like, it sounds cool, a town hall with Hima, she's here, she's real, right? But I don't really know what to do with it. Then ask yourself this question, okay? What is the one question that I'd like to ask Hima such that if she can answer it, it would help me boost my personal trading ASAP, okay? So that is the question to consider for yourself. And if something comes up, great, you can ask in our session. If you just want to sit back and listen, that's fine too. Now, whether you ask a question or not, this is important. I want you to listen close for those golden nuggets, okay? I say this a lot in like our coaching sessions and more. Golden nuggets are those moments where you are like, oh man, that was a great reminder I had for my trading. Or, oh yeah, I need to do that and implement that going forward. So just keep track of them, jot them down for yourself. Okay, I'm old school. I have like a notepad right here. I obviously also have the Zoom chat and you do too. So those are our basic guidelines before we get into how to ask questions. So if you just type a Y for me in the chat, if you're down with all this, you understand we're recording, you know that if you have a question, you're gonna go for the one that's like the big one for you, the one thing, start with that. Okay, great. So how are we actually gonna ask questions? I'm going to give you some directives now. So in your Zoom window, okay, there is a react button at the bottom. So everyone take a second and look for that. I have a few windows open, so I'm just going to kind of clean some things up. Look for the react button, and it should be shaped like a little heart. Can you guys type an R in the chat if you see that? Because your view is going to be different than mine. Okay, awesome. Peter sees it, Brian, Myron, Michael. Okay, fantastic. When you click on that heart that says react, you may have to scroll through, but there will be options that have a raise your hand. And if you try that, that will be the best way for me to know who has a question they'd like to ask, so I can kind of go through in a systematic way. So give it a try right now. If you have a question that you'd like to ask, try using the raise hand feature. I will let you all know if it gives me some sort of insight here. And if we don't get that to work for some reason, then we will definitely find another way. Okay, excellent. So I see the raise hand feature popping up for some of our members here, and I'm going to dive in accordingly. All right, so they're coming up, I think, in the order that you all are raising hands. So this allows me to answer your questions accordingly. Okay, So I'm going to stop my screen share. You should just see a big old Hima here for a moment. And I'm going to change my view to a gallery so I can see all of you and those of you who are on screen, your beautiful faces, your handsome faces. And we dive in. All right. So I see a couple of hands raised, so we'll just get started. So let's start with Mike OR. You can unmute or you can type to us in the chat what your question is. Okay, so I see you typing. Feel free to unmute or go ahead and just let me know your question in the chat. So again, guys, if you just type questions in the chat, it's going to be hard for me to keep track. So please put the raise hand. If I get time, I'll circle back to anything that was put in the chat. Okay, Mike, do you need more time? Just checking in. Oh, okay. So Mike asks, do you use momentum? Yeah, I do. That's the short answer. I can show you how I set it up and how I use it and where it fits in the framework of what I do. So for that, I'll share my screen really quick because I do have charts open. So for anyone here who doesn't know what momentum is, that is the underlying force behind price action. So let's say this chart of Tesla, right? It's traded up, it traded down prior to that. That's trend and that's price direction, but momentum is the speed behind the move. How fast is it going up or down? Please type a Y if that makes sense in the chat, okay? So Mike, yes, I use momentum and I use it via the RSI Power Zones. So the RSI is the relative strength index. This is a standard indicator you have on any platform. My RSI Power Zones takes that and applies these specific 4 zones. So it gives more context to where the RSI is. And this is actually like the beginning education that I share with anybody. So that's the first part to answer your question. Are you asking because you want to know how you can further study it? Or are you good? You have like 4 zones RSI and you're just confirming that I use momentum. I just want to make sure I understood the full question before I move on. All right. I'll give Mike a second to answer here. In the meantime, I will look at who else we have up in the line. So Mike, if you have a follow-up, I'll come back to you. Next, I'll go to Vinod Kumar. You can go ahead and type in the chat or unmute. Okay. So Vinod is typing in the chat. Are y'all scared to talk to me? I hope few of you aren't. I see some friends here who won't be. Just kidding. Okay. So you just typed SPX. Your mic is not working. Okay, no problem. What do you want to know about the SPX? Do you have a specific question about it? I'll just pull it up. When to buy a put. Okay. Are you asking about that in relation to current action? Like if you should be buying a put now? Based on market conditions like today. Okay. So here's the SPX I have ready. So for anybody wondering like how I was like having these charts ready to go, I have 2 main panels I open. I happen to use TradeStation, and I have this that I call my Outlook master. It's just like all these big top markets that I want to make sure I have charts ready for. It's SPX, the ETFs for indices, commodities, Mag 7, and a couple other things, right? So I had the SPX ready to go. So I'm just going to quickly bring us down to a daily time frame and whatever annotations I have on it. So today was an ugly day, but today was a day that looks a lot like other corrective days we've had. I mean, just take your eyeballs back from today's action, Vinod, and look at what it looked like back on October 1st. It was very similar. I'm not saying we're done going down, but I'm saying if you already are not short with a put, like if you don't have a bearish position already, like owning a put, you may be too late. Okay. If we look at this intraday, again, just with the chart I have here, we already fell pretty hard and are already pretty oversold in the RSI Power Zones. So I would not buy a put now. I think the We got to see what happens tomorrow, see if this weakness is confirmed, like keeps going, or if this was just a correction. Something I would look at is my forecasting. So that's my loss forecasting tools that I talk about. And that will help me be like aware of if we might be pausing around here. Okay, interesting. So based on this forecast, we went past the timing of it. It was for 10 a.m. today, but we did pause. The market paused not far beyond where that price level is. Does everybody else see that? Like, I'm going to take each person's question and make it into a lesson for everyone. So type a line in the chat if you see that with this forecast here. Okay. I know today was ugly in the markets. I'm not convinced it's like the beginning of a major top yet. Okay, Vinod, does that help you out? If you have a follow-up, I can come back to you. Okay, great. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, great. Moving along. I love this. We have Shakti. Shakti, good to see you. I know your mic will work. I'm ready for you. Okay, I've just asked you to unmute. Not sure if you're able to.
Hima, I sent you a note. Did you see it?
You sent me a note where? Here in the chat.
Chat.
Yes, I see it now. Okay, great. What's the best way to work out the direction of the trend and what helps you to determine a change? For that, I always go back to the basics first. So since I know you and I know you trade, is that what you want to look at? Do you want to look at the YM futures comparable to your Dow security?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So is it DIA or
DGI?
DJ? Okay. But I think for me, I'll just pull it up as YM and we'll get the job done. Okay. So I'll pull up an intraday chart of YM. Actually, I'll go daily first, so we all have some trend perspective and change from there. Okay, so let me share the screen. So the question was, how do you work out the direction of the trend and what helps you determine the change? So the first thing is you've got to have an idea of what the bigger time frames are doing, especially in this environment, right? Markets are moving on a weekly basis, daily basis. You can even go to monthly. Like if you're trading bonds, fixed income, if anybody here trades fixed income, you should be looking at monthly, even quarterly charts. That'd be very telling, especially for yields, okay? But let's come to here. Most of you are probably doing some sort of day trading or swing trading, whether it's scalping, like really fast, or holding for a few hours, or swing trading. If you are here and you are not doing swing trading, day trading, or scalping, please let me know in the chat what you're doing. I don't know, maybe you're following a robot and doing whatever it tells you. That's fine. Okay, so the first thing I would do here is I always am looking at where is the price action, where is the most recent high and most recent low, and what are those relationships. I read the chart like how you read Hebrew, right to left, not left to right. That's what gets everyone confused. So start with the right side of the chart, move back. I have a high, move back. I have a low. Move back, I have a high. Move back, I have a low. Just based on that information, Shakti, what's the daily chart trend? Higher highs and higher lows. We have an uptrend, right? Maybe you are back on mute.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's step one. What is going on the daily time frame? And I'm saying this because I know you're doing intraday. Then, and you can mark those levels off so that you can remember them more easily on the intraday chart. Then you come to an intraday chart and you say, okay, well, whatever the higher time frame trend is, so it was all being supported by this higher low. Currently, we're moving lower, but on the daily chart, we have not taken out that low. So we are in a short-term downtrend, high, low, right? And while we are beneath this latest price high, short-term intraday trend is down, but within the context of a bigger uptrend. So for me, this trend would change back to up on the daily if we get above this blue line, because then that means the short-term bears ran out of steam. And this trend would only really change to down if we took out this pink line back here.
Okay.
follow the price action, follow the highs and lows. That's the simplest way if you want to kind of just bring it down to basics. Does that answer your question, or did you need further clarity?
No, that's answered it, I think. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, how long do you go back to work that out? I mean, this is like 10th of the 8th. That's about a week away, I think, wasn't it?
Yes. So I have actual fixed time frames somewhere in our information. I don't have them memorized. I teach you guys a lot of stuff. I don't have it all memorized, but I'm pretty sure it's in the winning price action playbook. So Anna, if Shakti doesn't have that, because I know he's already got some of other courses, can you make a note to just give him that PDF, please, by tomorrow? Okay. So Shakti, you can look at those time frames in there, and the winning price action playbook has all laid out, depending on what time frame you are, how far back to go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Cash says, awesome answer. Well, thank you. This ain't my first rodeo. Just kidding. All right. I'm so loving seeing you all here. Wow, we have over 50, 60 traders in the room. So let's keep it moving. At some point, I'm going to need an eyeball break and a water break. So let me set myself a little timer reminder. Look at how many of these I have. I have 3 of these cubes that like manage my brain and my life. So we're going to set a 7-minute timer for me to just go off screen for a second, look at something else and come back on, but I'll still answer questions. Okay, Lambit, I'm ready for you. Do you want to type in the chat, or do you want to turn on your mic? Go ahead. I can't hear you, so let's unmute you. I'm going to ask to unmute. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. This power zone, I just want to know how different it will be around what we get to see in YouTubes and various books compared to that. What you will teach means, what will be the difference? I just wanted to know that.
So what's the difference between learning for free on YouTube versus buying my stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. It's an honest question. Like I said, we're going to be very transparent here. I am not running for president. Did you notice I wore purple? So I'm neutral today. No red, no blue. You mix them together, it's purple, okay? I'm Switzerland.
Not only YouTube, various books, other
yeah, absolutely.
sources.
So are you talking about other trading books, or are you talking about the things I own?
Other
Okay,
trading
others.
books.
You know what? This is where I would love, I mean, let's not go crazy, but if anybody wants to unmute and help me answer this, because it's a little subjective for me, I would appreciate it. Feel free to just jump in. I'll just start by saying, in books, you absolutely can learn. I have read many trading books. I have a shelf full of them. You see them in my videos, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, they don't come with the author coaching you. They don't come with a group of other traders using the same technique where you can ask each other questions in a group online, in a forum, where you can share charts. Like we have Cash here who shares charts all the time, which I love, and he gives feedback on other traders' charts just for the sake of learning. So that's my main answer to the difference between books and courses. I would love anybody else, again, you can open up your mic. Anna, they should be able to unmute themselves, right? I don't need to just grant permission. Yeah, go ahead. Cash, yeah.
That's a nice question, Lambit. I think what I've learned from Hima is that you have to pick a style, and you have to pick a trusted source, right? So if you're learning from Hima, make sure you understand that style completely before you start dibbling and dabbling into other styles. No one can tell you that the information in YouTube is wrong, because they're all different styles, right? And there are a million styles of trading, right? I started learning, I came to Hima after learning Elliott waves, right? So I have learned a lot of Elliott waves, and I just wanted to add to my knowledge, right? So what I've learned from Hima is a completely different and simpler way. So I actually envy you guys for learning because I've been I've been in the market now for more than 10 years, right? I've been learning everything, right? And if there's one thing that is true is to pick one style and master it. So that's just my take. Thank you.
Thank you, Cash. I appreciate that. And I wrote in the chat for you, Elliott Wave, my condolences, only because it can be very complicated and take a lot of time for the setups. But I have no hate towards Elliott Wave. I'll share the story with whoever wants to stay at the
I
end.
have one more question.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Lambit.
I just want to know, you have, I think, few courses. In that, how do you suggest a person to go ahead one by one? Means
Excellent question. I had a feeling somebody might ask this. So I have a graphic. I'm just going to show what I have. I'm not like going to pull up a sales page and all that. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. So this is good to cover Lambit's question and anybody else. This is new. I never made this before. Would y'all like to see it? Type a Y in the chat. It's literally like the trifecta and like the order of stuff. Okay. So if you look at my screen here, okay, I just made this little full thing today. I always talk about my trifecta, Lambit. Maybe you've heard me say that in my videos, right? I'm Hima Reddy, and I use price action, market timing, and momentum to boost my trading and that of our tribes. Like, that's just what I say. So for price action, which is that most fundamental information, the main place where I'm like deploying this all the time is my research. So that's in something called the S&P Edge Pro now. So if you trade S&P 500 futures or SPY ETF, that's a good fit. If you just want to kind of see the examples of me doing analysis, it's also a good fit, even if you don't trade S&P. That's like a monthly subscription service. You can get more information if you want. Obviously, if you're in a mentorship with me, we're going to also go through, you know, a person's trading plan, their price action setups. I have multiple other resources that are really focused on price action. So the big boxes here are courses, Gann candlesticks, Gann trading patterns. They say Gann because they're like my taking what I know about WDN analysis and applying those twists. The Gann trading patterns has two books that sort of feed into it. I mentioned one earlier for Shakti, the winning price action or missing trends. And then I have my actual Gann second edition book that's like a printed, where is it? Where's my book? Oh, I thought I'd have it by my desk, but my actual physical book that's somewhere not nearby, that's all price action. Does that make sense? Like, this is where you get deep on price action, and then I have a few other categories. So momentum is what I talked about earlier, like the speed behind the moves. And right, that I have two main areas of education. Like for everyone who comes in, there's a reason this is what I share. You will usually see these first two ebooks, or you'll see this thing called 4 Zones RSI. We have seen, and Anna can second this, the students who get the most success in using any of my techniques start with this system. And it's also my best priced one. So for anybody like been curious and wondering, that would be the place I say start, but you don't have to start there, you can jump around. And then just the last piece, and then I answer your question, is forecasting. And for that, I have these two: loss forecasting, advanced loss forecasting. So this may still look very random, but then if you really want like a linear path, this is what it is. Start at the top left, and you can just pick and choose. But if you're going to move through to get the most out of what I offer, this is it. So if anybody wants to take a picture or screenshot, feel free. You know, we'll make sure this is out on YouTube as well. But
what is the difference between this 4 zone and advanced RSI?
Great question. So the 4 zones is the beginning education on using this indicator and the beginning base patterns, plus some of my key ways of using the price action. Like, it's very honed in on how to immediately use RSI better. Once you have a semblance of that, you can move to the advanced, or you can get the advanced. It has other additional patterns and more advanced setups where you start looking at the indicator, not just based on fixed patterns, but you start looking at the indicator compared to its own history. You know, especially if you're studying like one market.
So in your RSI course, you will be starting with that 4 zone followed by this advanced.
Start with 4 zones. Don't even worry about anything else. If you're here and you don't have the 4 zones yet, that's the best place to start to see if you resonate with what I teach. Like Cash said, like, see if our styles match, right? See if the way I'm teaching makes sense to you. And if it does, you can add in the advanced at the beginning or later. It's totally up to you. Does it answer your question for now, Lambit?
Yeah.
Okay, great. If you have others, I'll circle back to you. Okay, thanks for your questions. Appreciate it. Was that a little helpful graphic for anybody? Like, I had it for a while and I was just like, we need an order to all of these things that float around in my brain. So hopefully it helps. And again, we can share a recap of that later. Okay. Brian, hello. Brian H.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
I just
How can I help
wanted to confirm,
Mhm.
when I first started going down the path looking at your system, there was a specific list of what trading platforms the system can be used on. And when I reached out to your group, a reply came back saying there was custom settings and that you could apply them to any platform if it wasn't listed below. Now, is all the functionality there with the custom settings as in your other system, or?
Great question. Okay, so for that, I'm just going to take you right into the Four Zones portal and take you to that page. So do you already have this or you're thinking about it? Just so I have perspective.
I'm
Do
thinking
you know
about
if you have? Okay, think about it. Okay, fine. So then you're not having access to the portal, but I'm just going to show you. So when a person joins this system, they have like a quick video that lets them know like, hey, this is all your resources you can download. And there's two choices. There's a bunch of buttons here that show all the platforms we have it for. There's alphabetical because that's just easier. And what is it that you trade on, Brian, if it's not one of these?
E-Trade.
E-Trade. Okay. So for E-Trade, you probably could go in, because this is what I had to do back in the day before like this existed. I had to go in and mess with the easy language of TradeStation and take the regular RSI and get the lines put on it with the colors and the numbers I want. So you can do that here. So here's the zones. Like, again, we're in this situation here. I'm not going to be all like, well, here's my super secret settings. They're right here. Okay. I'll put them in the chat. It's not a big deal to me. And you can go through E-Trade support. So I'll say RSI Power Zones settings. And you can see if they have the ability for you to manipulate their RSI. If they don't, then there are other folks here who have workarounds. So if there's anybody here who wants help, Brian, who likes the RSI Power Zones, uses it, but just it's not their main platform, let us know what you do. Like, I use TradeStation and I have it on TradeStation. TradingView is another great option because it's free. But that's what that means when they gave you that answer, my team. Does that answer your question for the clarity of like what they meant?
No, it totally does. And you said TradingView is free?
Yeah, TradingView is free. I just made an account yesterday, finally, after like 4 years of watching it. So tradingview.com, I have no partnership or anything with them, okay?
And it has a lot of functionality?
Yeah. Who here uses TradingView? Type TV in the chat, like television, but TradingView. I have made an account now. I'm officially on there, and you guys will hear more about why. But TradingView, yes. So you can go to get started, and then you can go and sign up, and then you have all these options. I signed up with Google because I'm lazy, so I just picked my trading account, like email that I have. You can use your other accounts, or you can just make a typical email sign-in. It takes 2 seconds, and then you have a free basic plan. The one catch, Brian, is that TradingView's free plan, I believe you can only plot 2 indicators at a time. Cash or somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but if it's free plan, you can't put like a whole boatload of things on there. But if you want to put the RSI Power Zones on there, you have them. And yeah, Cash Says is arguably one of the best platforms. I've heard a lot of you use it. So, and they have a free version. So you could use that if you can't get the E-Trade to work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I appreciate it very much. I use E-Trade because I have money in Morgan Stanley, and Morgan Stanley bought E-Trade. So it's free. But I'm not above purchasing another platform, but I thought just to try it out, could I use E-Trade, right?
Yeah.
All right,
So
thank
if
you.
you want to, yeah, TradingView will allow you to, so you'd get TradingView, you'd have a free account. And then if you want the indicator from us and sign up, then you'll have the download and you can plug it all in.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, I'm here. I'm still listening, but I gotta stretch my eyeballs. So Blade, I'm here for you, my friend. I just need to look out the window for a second. What can I help you with? You can go ahead and unmute.
Here we go. Well, it's good to see you all again. Shakti, hi. Anyway, my question is multifaceted, and that slide you put on there gave me the more of a guidance I needed. My question was, in re-engaging in these classes after I'm able to quit working now, so I can trade.
Awesome.
Do I, just re-go through the RSI and then into the advanced RSI and then start the loss forecasting? And then at what point should I get into the advanced loss forecasting? So those types of things. So that's one question. And then I have two other little things. I don't know. how you
Okay,
wanna
so
handle
I'll
them.
answer that first one, Blade, and then we'll do your others, and then I can circle back if you have more. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna set another timer just in case. Okay, so I just brought the graphic back up. If you're gonna restudy in this order. And if there's something you don't have, don't worry about it, skip it.
Right.
So
Okay.
I know you, right? Worked with you. Go back to 4 zones, just get those basics. You're still doing your E-mini, right? S&P.
Correct. Well,
Okay.
I'm in queue now.
Oh, wait, NQ now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you made a change outside the, what we built together, you can still take the trading plan approach we made and then adapt it to NQ, and you know how to do that because of the lessons in your blueprint portal, right?
Right.
So I would, knowing you, because I worked with you, go to 4 zones, then go to the blueprint portal, which I still have a janky logo. Anna, you got to remind me to make something better. I literally drew that on a Post-it. When it was a new program, and that's still what we have. So anyway, this has all your 3 sections, right? Your roadmap, so
Right,
you can
right.
review your trading plan to update for your NQ. It has your repetitions, like all those things I was teaching you guys about. How do you review your trades, the winning trades, the losing trades, everything in between, and then some of that mindset stuff.
Right.
Go through those 2 first. I don't want to overwhelm you. Do those, and then email us and be like, I've done these 2. And then I can be like, okay, here's what you should do next. It will probably be the same order, but I just don't want to overwhelm you.
Right.
You
And
can
I
come to the advanced
appreciate that.
forecasting later. Advanced forecasting, if you don't have a solid handle on loss forecasting, you won't be able to do much with the advanced
Right.
loss forecasting yet.
Right. Right. Makes
And
sense.
you don't need to buy another course yet. I mean, that's not a good thing for me to say as a businesswoman, but I'm being honest. You don't need to buy anything else right now.
Yeah.
Go through the stuff that you have.
No, it's and going back to that individual's first question about, YouTube versus this stuff, this hands down is the best way to learn. I mean, you just immerse yourself in this stuff. You can go back to it, you can review it, you just steep yourself into that stuff, and it's just very, very handy. And going through that mentorship program, I was able to transition from ES to NQ. I do like 2 trades a day, and it's maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and I'm done. It's like,
Woohoo.
wow.
You're the true scalper. You want me to call you the scalper of the Northwest?
Indeed. They don't call me Blade for nothing, right?
I love that. Blade the scalper. Everyone, we need to make like a t-shirt or something.
It's true. It's
On our
true.
tribe, Blade the
But
Scalper.
the things one learns in those classes are just so invaluable, and you can go back and you redo it, and it's just good stuff. And my last comment and question was, are you still gonna like me if I trade NQ from ES or?
It's still futures, so we're
Yeah.
cool. I'm just kidding. No, I don't. You know yourself, and you know what
Yeah.
you're doing. You've been in communication with us. We have a lot. Does anybody else here trade the NQ? This would be a good time for you all to know each other. So type NQ in the chat if you trade the NQ. So Blade, you should type it, and anybody else who trades NQ futures or the QQQ, like anything in that index category. And if they're not here, Blade, they'd probably be in the forums, right, for our products or in the Facebook group. So,
Right.
okay, we got Peter, we've got John. Oh, you're like a whole NQ club. Naresh,
Oh, nice.
Helen. Yeah, sweet. Cash. Okay. Good. So
Yeah,
anybody else,
it's,
you can all, jot each other's names. You have the same names in the forums, and talk to each other in
It's
Facebook.
it's
groups.
just great how quickly it moved, and I can do it when I'm on my lunch break, or when I'm waiting for paint to dry or whatever.
Which you like literally are because of your
I am,
podcast or work.
indeed.
It's not like when I say it, man, these markets are so slow. It's like watching paint dry. It's like, no, Blade is actually watching paint
Yeah,
dry.
it's true. I have one
Awesome.
more job and I'm done. I'm
Woohoo!
retired, only trading. So it's
Amazing. Oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait for us to get your updates.
Yeah,
And,
it'll
go
be
from there.
good. So I
Okay.
appreciate you all. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Blade. Okay, I gotta ask before we move on to Chris here. First of all, I just want everyone to know, I just invited you all here. I didn't give anyone a special invite. I didn't say, hey, can you come here and say anything nice? This is just completely anybody sharing. They're sharing from their heart. I just want you to know that. There's no like backdoor, like, hey, come to my town hall and say something nice about me and I'll do X, Y, Z for you. So, because with politics, I
have
feel
one
like I need to
question.
make that clarification.
Excuse me. Hello.
So Lambit, there's two people with their hands up. I'll come back to you in a moment. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, great. Chris P, how are you?
Hey, Hima, how are you?
Good to see you.
Am I audible?
You're audible. Yes, I hear
Okay,
you. I don't see you,
awesome.
but that's okay.
Awesome. So I just had a question. So I have all your courses, as you know, and I've gone through them. But one thing I'm not sure if maybe this is the right forum for it.
Okay.
What I'm wondering is, do you see in some cases RSI not being used in a trading setup?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
So that's a great question. So just to give a visual for everybody else who's not familiar. So Chris, you are still swing trading stocks, am I right? Okay. Is there like stock, is it NVIDIA? Is that a good example I can pull up, or?
Yeah, Mag 7s.
Mag 7s. Okay. Pick a seven, any seven. That's the one I'm going to bring up.
Let's do NVIDIA.
Okay. I was just like, I need visual representation. As you all can see, whether you're meeting me today or met me before, I'm a true chartist. It's like very hard for me to talk about the market without looking at the market, okay? So let's just take the daily chart of NVIDIA, since I know that Chris is a swing trader. Oh, damn, look at that forecast. I hope, did you have that one on or no? It
Wow.
we got over in time, but it still was like a nice magnet from this base here. You see what I mean? Okay, anyway, I digress. What I will say is this. The RSI Power Zones will give more setups the lower time frame you're on, because they're just going to move more and they're going to have more opportunities for divergences, reversals and stuff. But if you're in a daily or higher, you won't always have it set up for the RSI Power Zones, like if you look every day. Does that make sense, Chris? I was never like, I hope I didn't say that ever in the course or anything, but if you're just asking for clarification, I want to make sure I'm answering the right question.
That makes sense. So it sounds like the RSI is better on the shorter time frames, right?
Well, no, it's not that. Even on the shorter time frames, I don't have setups all the time every day. What I'm saying is it is a tool in the toolkit and you will get opportunities from it. But there are times when it's just going to be either directionless because the price action is directionless, like choppy and sideways, or it won't give you the, like here was beautiful, right? Here was like a bullish divergence.
Perfect.
It was, a nice green candle. And again, this is hindsight, but I already labeled that price probe. And you saw, guys, I have this forecast on my chart sitting here. It's not like I drew it just now and said, oh, how the market moved. So if you followed this guide, you would be able to manage a long position and live through some of this chop. But what is it specifically that you're experiencing? Because I feel like it's not just about it being shorter time frames. Is there something specific that you're noticing, like a certain pattern not working or not seeing it?
No, it's more of like me, or it's more of a psychological thing. And by the way, psychology is important.
Absolutely.
And Hima's mentorship course helped with that. In any case, so I digress.
No, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, the accountability coaching, the mindset coaching we have in there.
It's more of a psychology thing in the sense that I have to have a setup in the RSI versus, and that's what
I see.
And it's the psychological thing.
So the first thing I would do for you, since I helped you build your trading plan, I would go back through your setups, because again, just going off memory, I'm not pulling things up. You had like 3 or 4 distinct setups for
Right.
your options,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
bullish, bearish. Look at them. Do you have written in there that you need the RSI power zones to be doing something when it
Right.
really doesn't? Because that could be throwing you off.
Mhm.
That could be an iteration for your next version of your plan. That, you know what? I thought the RSI power zone is going to be my go-to signal, but I'm seeing other things that I've learned, right? Again, trading pattern or a loss forecasting setup, and I'm not seeing the RSI participate, and it's still a good setup.
Well,
That
that's what it
happens
is.
to me all
Right.
the time.
That's what it is, because I have a loss forecast set up,
Okay.
and then it's the RSI didn't come, is not necessarily jiving, and I'm like, oh, not a good, not taking that because of that, and I end
Okay.
up missing out on a move.
Okay, yeah. No,
so
I think we nailed it then. So this is a good reminder for you and for everyone. So everyone listen close, okay? Whatever you use of what I do, again, let me be a chartist talking with the chart, okay? Whether it's price actions, actual candlesticks individual, whether it's complex patterns, mine or anyone else's, it doesn't matter. Whether it's simple support and resistance, whether it's the RSI power zones, or whether it's forecasting or using the time axis. There is nothing that appears and gives you setups constantly. Like nothing reliable in my book. Because if it's going to give you setups all the time, it's also going to give you a lot of false positives, in my experience. If that's happened to anyone, type a Y in the chat. Like you get some cool indicator from somebody and they're like, oh, yeah, this is going to give you like 10 setups a day. And they do, but like 6 of them are no good, right? That's not fun. So I would rather have fewer trades, as boring and feeling as it is, Chris, sometimes,
mhm.
and have the setup be a combination. I don't need the full trifecta to be taking place, but when it does, it's usually the best setup. I have been developing a side bank of what I'm calling super setups. It's like high probability setups that I'm realizing, oh, I do these all the time, but I never taught them as that. So like when I get those fleshed out, I'll make sure you're one of the first people to like see it and see if that helps answer your question. Because some of them have RSI and some don't.
Well, I think you answered the question as with a yes no answer. Uh, that no, the
Okay.
RSI doesn't the
Well,
RSI
you know me.
doesn't always have to be, have to have a setup to be able to take a long or short trade. Even if like if you have a forecast and it's so and it's going in and you forecast making a forecast, you don't
Yep.
necessarily have to have the RSI in your favor. It's just an extra added boost.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Okay.
I'll invite anyone else to add on this because there are a lot of you who have had multiple courses here or been through. Is anyone else also seeing that like RSI power zones is that indicator on the bottom of your chart, but you don't always use it. You sometimes use anything else. You can turn on your mic and share that, or you can type it in the chat now, later. Just so Chris knows it's not just me.
Yeah.
I've
Um,
experienced that 100%. A lot has to do with key levels. The negative reversal parts, positive reversals all have a good aspect of that. And I have difficulty seeing them in the RSI zone, but price action on top, a lot of the patterns dictate, what to do, of course, my trades are seconds long, so it doesn't really matter. A lot of the price action is key and king in deciding, and where it's at in those key levels makes a huge difference. So it's the confluence of having all of the things that she teaches come in line. Those are really powerful, and I'm getting better at finding those. But
Oh,
indeed,
awesome. Yeah, seeing like multiple things happening.
right,
Okay, cool.
right.
DJ, were you going to say something? You're unmuted. Go ahead. No? Yes? Okay.
I was gonna say something.
Go ahead.
Well, the RSI, from what I've seen, I've been using RSI for years before until I started, I came to Hima's style of using RSI. It's like totally changed the way I saw everything. One thing that I have learned is that if you're just starting with the RSI, what you should do as a student is ask yourself, okay, how does this work? And what are the best setups? So in other words, just because you see a divergence in the 5-minute time frame doesn't mean when you take that, it's going to go to the moon. right? You have to also look at the 1 hour time frame. You have to look at the 4 hour time frame. You have to have a plan, right? And to say, okay, well, if there is a reversal here, how will I play the reversal? And you have to understand what the definition of a reversal is, right? You have to understand what constitutes reversal. Does it break the previous price action or market structure? Does it break that? And is there a confirmation? Is there a divergence that shows that after the break, there is a divergence that price is going to continue higher, right? You have to understand how to read all those in conjunction with reading the RSI to add to your confirmation, right? I use all kinds of, I have so many setups that I use, but yeah, you can't just say, RSI and then just say that's it, right? So there's world time frame strategy. There's a lot of different things that adds to it. That's why there are levels to trading, right? So
Yeah. No, that's great feedback. And bringing this back to Chris's question, which was, because I know Chris, I know like he's very intelligent. His questions are always well informed. I think the question was, having gone through all this information, do I feel like RSI has to be doing something confirming for other things to work? And the answer for that was no. Sometimes it's just not doing anything. It's just like out, having a cigarette, but your forecast is there and your Gann patterns are there and your price action there. And then you just let the RSI come back when it comes back. So thanks, DJ. I appreciate that. Okay, and there's a lot of chat. So everyone who's here, be looking at the chat too. There's a lot of insights being shared by your fellow traders, and I'll continue. If anybody has a question though, remember, it's easier for me to just circle through. We have more time. We're going to keep going here. So if you have a question that you would like me to answer, if you put it in the chat, I probably won't see it and we'll circle back. Okay, I see 2 more hands raised before I will kind of like ask who else has questions. So next is Rick, and then Sarvan, and then Lambit. If you want to raise your hand again for a question, feel free to raise your hand again, but we'll go to Rick next.
Okay, yeah, Hima, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, the other day I was watching during one of the meetings, we went through, and I want to call it a forecasting calculation,
Okay.
using 2 lows matching up to a high, the ABC type calculation.
Yeah.
I remember it making sense to me as we were going through it, but I can't bring it back into my head and do it. I was wondering if you could go through one real quickly here for me.
Okay, so Rick, just so I have perspective, no pressure. How are you saying this as a student of my forecasting education, or just watching me do it in a session?
Just watching you do it in a session.
Okay. And what do you trade so that I can bring up something like relevant to you?
I do mostly stocks. A lot of times I'm doing CRWD, I believe it is.
CRWD. All right.
CrowdStrike.
Let's load her up. Yep. 1 second. Let me bring up my MGC Live. So this is the charts that I use every month when we have like group coaching for all their courses. So I have this set. So we will pull up a chart and it may have a bunch of stuff on it. CRDW?
CRWD.
WD, CrowdStrike. Yeah. They're the ones who had that whole mess with their airlines. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I just checking. Okay. So first thing is, I like on TradeStation, there's this little indicator sort of that tells you when the earnings are coming up, so it can be aware. So I'm just like, okay, it's not for another month. We're good. Okay. So I will quickly demonstrate some forecasting, but I need you, Rick, to promise me you won't go be like doing this by yourself without choosing to invest in your education at some point, because you will lose money if you trade it by yourself without the rules. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yep.
this is a warning to everybody. I'm not your mother. You can do whatever you want, but I promise you, you're going to have a bad trade if you don't know what you're doing just by watching me do it. Okay. So the essence of forecasting is that, like, all of you from your other trading educators, because I know you have others, you're not all just sitting here with me all the time, and it's totally fine, right? They are all talking about price and plotting an indicator down below. Very few of them are teaching you how to use the bottom of the axis, except for me. If this is your reality, please type Y in the chat. This is what I think is happening. but I need you to confirm for me. Like 85% of the other trading educators out there are like price, candlesticks, patterns, indicators. That's it. Okay, great. Okay, so that's a lot of, you know, that's fine because that's what they know. What we're doing is we are taking what's happening in the price and the relationships between the highs and the lows, and we are tying it to the timing so that we can have not only a price target, but a expectation of when that price will get there. Okay, so it's something I'll demonstrate in reality now, but just like don't trade this because you don't have the education, but I will demonstrate what a forecast could be right now on CrowdStrike. Okay, Rick? Cool?
Yep.
Okay. So we had a low on August 5th, like we did in many things, rallied up to a high, traded down to a low, rallied up to a high, traded down to a low, rallied up to a high, and we are correcting lower. And I say correcting because just like I showed Shakti earlier, until we get below this October 1st low, the trend is up. Doesn't mean we're going to stay above it, but that's defining the trend for me. So the first thing, Rick, is like having a bearing on what your trend direction is if your market is moving in a distinct up or down trend. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Next, I identified a high, identified a low, identified a high, identified a low. So I'm going to mark some labels on here, and anybody who's here who has the loss forecasting techniques under your belt, you can tell me, let's hold on. I'm going to use numbers. Okay. I'm just going to number these highs and lows. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anybody can turn on your mic and tell me what's a forecast that you would draw that Rick could put on his chart to help him see where price and time might meet next. I'm doing this to show you that it's not just me, like people have learned how to do this. Anybody?
From 2 and 4.
Cash, okay. 2 and 4 are connecting from where?
Connecting from 3.
Yes, good job. Okay, see, I've never spoken to you, but I like know your name from the forums and how much you post and engage. And so I just want you to know I appreciate it. It shows, it's like constantly showing. That's why I'm not surprised you have the answer here. So what Cash said is exactly what I would say. Now, there's rules for why this is the case, but look, Rick, at how in real time this helped navigate how far down we might go back and until when. We are a day late, right? We're still moving lower and we're not quite at the price target. Now, this is a ballpark because of the way I draw. I teach in my advanced courses how you can get the precise level. I'll just demonstrate it here. I'm not going to teach this. This is like a fib hack, basically. So the exact price target is 294.45 to be met by October 22nd. And the earliest you could know that was October 15th. Would that have been helpful here? To know that there was this magnet pulling price down into the right? I would think so. So that's me showing you in real time how that technique would be applied. Is that helping you see it more? If not,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'll do another one in a minute.
Because I was remembering it's like it's top to top or bottom to bottom, and then you pull it down to like you did, you'll cross from the top,
Right.
and then you pull it down to the low, and it gives you a
It gives you a target.
general price and a general time.
Exactly. No, it gives you a specific price and a specific time. It gives you an X marks the spot, right? This time and this date. But the problem is because markets are basically like radio waves on crack and things will come in and mess things up, you can't just trust the forecast. That's why in the loss forecasting trading system, which all you forecasters know, I have a whole set of lessons just on what to do when the forecasts miss. But it explains it. Okay, we overshot by this much. We undershot. Was it time? Was it price? And I made a flow chart. Like the old man, there was a real old man, not Gann, who I learned this from. It was just all written in a book with a few pictures. I was like, good God. So I made a flow chart so I can be like, how did I miss? What does that mean? And adjust my strategy. So I'm just letting you know that's the nuance part. But yeah, if you're seeing this, then you can start drawing some forecasts just to see how they.
And you never know how news is going to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, news is especially these days, news definitely can expedite things, but even with the news, even with earnings and other things, we see forecasting work. Like Melvin's
Right.
asking here, will this also work in Forex? So Melvin, I'm going to break my rule of not ignoring the chat. Since we're on forecasting, Melvin, do you have a Forex pair that we'll do a quick forecast on? Just one, quick. And then I'll move on to the remaining questions, okay? So Rick, does that give you some clarity? Do you have any follow-up on that?
No, that was good.
That's good? Okay, great. Okay, so I'm gonna do that similar thing for Euro Yen. Okay. Man, you're taking me back to my Wall Street days when I would have to like, watch all these pairs and watch the emerging markets and whew. I was doing some consulting work for Wall Street when the British pound fell out of bed. That was fun. That was, and still doing my own trading and running this business. That was crazy. That was, what was that? Fall of 2022, my old company called me back and I did it for a few months and helped them out. Anyway, here's the Euro Yen. Let's just get some perspective of what it's been doing. Okay, for right now, we'll just do some recent forecasts and then a new one. Okay, so we had a fall from this high to this low and then a recovery. Previous to that was a low that defined the uptrend. So the reason I'm showing you this, Melvin, is because from the low that defined the uptrend, right? Everybody can see that up here, right? Please type a Y in the chat. That it doesn't matter what you are studying here, you know this uptrend was defined by this June 14th low, okay? And we can see in hindsight when it broke, show was over. But check this out. Forecasts also work not just for new targets, but to figure out where corrections will end. And again, I don't trade this pair. I mean, come on. Come on. That's freaking awesome. That was a day late in time, but right on the price. Melvin, do you see that? That this works in Forex. So as early as the formation of this big spike low, you could have drawn this forecast to figure out how far this pair might recover higher and by when. And then it did it here. Then you would continue to look at the relationship. So here there was a smaller cycle that obviously had like a big push down. Then we've been consolidating. So when you consolidate, then the forecasting becomes a little bit more about price targets than time because everything's sideways. But we have been lifting off of this September 16th low. So now I'll say, ooh, somebody's actually drawing my chart. That's fun. It's all good. Just don't write any curse words, okay? This right now is a forecast. Now, this is a little complicated one because it has multiple highs, but whoa, wait a minute. That's pretty cool. So Melvin and everybody watch. I just drew a new forecast. I didn't go through all the exercises of it. Low, high, low. This is called a regular cycle unit. This is the way traditional forecasting is based on cycle lows because lows are more reliable. But I teach how you can use highs to forecast as well. And check it out. Right now, we are on track to trade into Halloween / Diwali. They both land on the same day this year. I'm conflicted. And that's also super close to this old bottom. Melvin, do you see this? Is this cool or not? I don't care if you guys ever buy forecasting or not and learn for yourself, but you have to admit this is pretty darn cool here to see how different pieces of the chart, the price, the forecasting all come together. Yeah. So the which course teaches forecasting? It's the one that's called Lost Forecasting. It's kind of a funny name, I know, but it was because the story behind it is that literally this man was 87 years old. He was on his deathbed. I didn't know that. I found him through the publisher of the work my father and I had studied. And I was like, hey, I want to start. Anna, can you help Jim control his movements there? There's like things drawing on my chart. It's freaking me out. Okay. Lost forecasting is called that because the man was dying on his deathbed. He has 2 sons, neither of them interested in trading, and he didn't even have the copyright or anything in place for his work. Like, it was crazy. So I was just like, you're old and on your last whatever. I don't want your work to get lost to people who don't understand it or whatever. My father and I have been studying it. Can I just like buy your life's works? So I made an investment. I bought his life's works. I did all the legal stuff to get it all tidied up. And then I turned what was in one little thin book into everything that's in my courses, loss forecasting and advanced loss forecasting. So advanced, don't bother with if you don't have a loss forecasting foundation. Unless you are an advanced trader, then you can come in here and you'll be fine. All right, cool. Just FYI, I think we have a special going on loss forecasting. So if you're interested, you can check your email. That's all I'll say about that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not handing out links or saying, okay, run to the bell and like doors are closing. Do whatever you need to. I'm just giving you the option. Okay, sweet. How are we? We're at 9 o'clock. We have a few more questions. How's everyone doing? Scale of 1 to 10. How is our first ever town hall so far? 1 is I should be off watching whatever happens at Wednesday 8. 10 is cool. I'm getting some golden nuggets. I'm getting some insights. It's good to learn about how these things work in the real markets, getting value. And if you are answering in the chat, thank you so much. Mike, Blade, Cash, Peter. Please also type in now. We are still going to go for another 30 minutes minimum. Please type in like a golden nugget or insight. It doesn't have to be specific to my products or anything. Just something about your trading, about the markets that you realize here today. So everyone who asked a question, your golden nugget should be the insight you got from your question. Okay. All right. Bobo, I'm going to answer you and then I'll come to Lambit and then we'll do another round here. I'm just going to go off screen to rest my eyes. So Bobo, you can unmute. I love that name, by the way. And I'm happy to answer you, or you can type in the chat.
So I go now?
Bobo, yeah, I can hear you. How are you?
Good, and you? How you doing?
Good. Am I saying your name right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
What can I help you with?
Yeah, thank you so much. A friend of mine who told me about you, and
Oh,
he's
okay.
a very good, a wonderful trader. Okay.
Okay.
And what interests me mostly is about your Gann product.
Okay.
So he asked me, since I'm interested in Gann, I should come to you. Okay. So
Okay.
what I'm trying to know, do you teach the other side of Gann called square of 9 and cycle of repetition, something like that?
Yes. So, okay. So I took my eyeball break. I'm back. So here's the situation. I teach Gann's trading tactics, meaning like when Gann made a forecast using square of 9 or circle or whatever, right? What did he actually do when the market get there? Those are the things I teach in my courses right now. I have access to, and I know all that other stuff you're talking about. But when I went to learn it, they made me sign all this paperwork that I will never reteach it because it's their proprietary stuff. Okay. This was like, I don't know, a while ago. Of the 3 teachers in that course, 2 have unfortunately passed away. There's 1 still remaining. He is my friend. And I have been, he had no interest in teaching people. He just like is this soybean farmer in Ohio who like does insane Gann forecasts. Okay. And I talk to him every couple of years. I'm thinking about approaching him and saying, listen, people still want to learn and I'm the next generation to teach it. Can we do this where I can start introducing people to my interpretation of this stuff so that they can learn? So that's the honest truth. If you want to learn square of 9, circles, squares, like all the forecasting of Gann, I don't have education for you right now. But if you know the interest is there, then I'll try, because it's sad. Like those teachers were actually people I knew, and you know they moved on from this plane, but I don't want to like violate my contract with them without like proper permission. Does that make sense? Bobo, are you still there? You can unmute.
Yeah.
So
do you hear me? Do you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now. Yes.
Okay. I said thank you for being honest. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Awesome. All right, cool. So we're ready for more questions after Lambit. So Lambit, it's your turn again. You're winning the award for question asker of the day. I appreciate it. What can I help you with? I can't hear you. You need to unmute again, please. I see you talking. So
Hello.
yes, hi.
Yeah, I just want to know this 4 zone and advanced RSI is a different course?
Yes, they're different. Okay, here's how they're the same. Here's how they're different. So both of them are teaching you about applications of this indicator, okay? But four zones is like grade school and middle school. Not in a bad way. Just pretty much anyone, if you're a newer trader, advanced, you can come and get it. Advanced RSI is high school. That's the only difference. You get deeper in and you see things, and I teach you how to see things that you would benefit to also have the base education with. But like everything I do, I just make it a standalone. Like there'd be value in it if you do it on its own, but I've seen the most success when people do the 4 zones first, and then they can expand. Does that answer your question? Okay, good. All right. Okay, so before I check on Blade here, does anybody else have any new questions?
Hi, Hima. I
Can
ask
you
a
just raise
question?
your hand first? Sorry, there's a bunch of people turning on. So if you could raise your hand if you have a question first.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where do I do that. So that's okay.
So who's speaking? Because I see lots of mics on. Is this Gopal?
Yeah.
Okay, hey Gopal. All right, let's go ahead. What's your question?
No, I'll wait for my turn. So just
No, it's okay. You're Blade already went before. Blade, I'm sure will be fine if you go next. So Gopal, you're gonna ask me about where bonds are going? Is that gonna be your question? That's
that'd
what
be good.
Gopal always
Yeah,
used to ask me. Are bonds topping? Are yields bottoming? And I'm like, let me look in my
yeah,
crystal ball.
yeah. But as you can see, they are like going up and down. It's everybody's guess now. They are almost at 4.2, 10 years. So
So is that
yeah,
what you want to look at, or you had a different question?
yeah. That's
Yeah.
one of the
Okay.
thing.
See, I knew.
But
As soon as I
but
saw
my
your name,
main
I said I
my
better pull up my
main
10-year chart. No, it's good. This is good. I
No, my
have.
main question was around like I'm trying to understand this RSI power zones and all because if you see the momentum if it goes above 60, then there is 60 and above and all are these resistance, but technically the momentum is still up, right? So why do we consider it as like a bear zone or and also there is no man land, right? So how do we interpret that when when it is in that particular zone? So
Okay, so just to remind me, Gopal, you have the 4 zones education, like the base. Yes or
right,
no?
yes,
Yes. Okay, just so I know perspective. Okay. And anybody who's messaging me directly, I don't have like octopus arms. I love you and I want you to get help. So Anna, can you reach out to Mark H over the chat, please? Thanks. Mark, you can just message Anna B and she can help you. Okay, thank you. Let me start by pulling up. You want me to do the 10-year yield to explain the answers? Or 30-year bond or what?
sure. Yeah, that's fine. 10 year is fine. Yeah.
Okay. So your first questions were like, were about interpreting the zones. Was it, how do you deal with it on different time frames or just like in general?
Yeah, just in general, right now, if you see like in that red zone there,
Yeah,
like
but this is a
above,
weekly chart. So on the weekly chart, it is recovering back to the red zone. Let's look at it on the daily. Do I have a separate window? Yeah. Okay. So not this one, this one. This is my like everyday chart. Okay. So I don't look at the 10 years as much as I should. I've been looking more at the VIX, but I had these fanning trend lines. This is not technically a Gann fan, just don't, and nobody confuse it, okay? But I had these fanning trend lines to see the steepness. So now we got past the first one, we got past the second one, we're in the third. So first, Gopal, you always look at price action first, right? Then see if the RSI Power Zones is giving you any information. And right now, RSI Power Zones is out having
no
a
man's
cocktail.
land.
It's not telling me anything on the daily. So you are right to be like, we're just sitting in no man's land. Correct. There's no setup. There's no new information. The only thing is we did have a nice bullish divergence back here, and it's rising from that. So you can look at the directional move on the RSI the way you would look at price, like a trend. So I'm going to show you, okay? So guys, this is a little like advanced, but like I want you to start thinking about it this way, especially those of you like Chris P, who like, you kind of know a lot of techniques. I do this. It's going to look a little crazy, but trust me. Okay. So first of all, I have a separate workspace where I just keep all these annotations the way I want, so I can quickly change the default. That's all I'm doing. So I went to my shopping cart and I got my Gann drives, like faint orange lines. Okay. I'm going to come back to the 10-year and I want to show you something. So we had this, if somebody's unmuted who isn't Gopal, can you just turn it off for 1 second? Because we're hearing background conversation. Thank you. All right. So do you see, Gopal, how I just labeled this directional move on the RSI?
Yes.
Okay. Now there's this directional move right here. It's like a Gann drive, but it's on the RSI. This will be helpful to me for perspective because I can see that it's coinciding with the price. So I'm like, all right, we have a push higher. We have a push higher. This one came from bull support. That was a great insight, right? To be ready for a move higher. Even though the trend was down, it was starting to hold bull support. But right now, it is not doing anything useful. There's no RSI Power Zone setup on the daily chart. It's just needs time to figure out what it wants to do next. Is that the challenge you had? Like you didn't know if you're missing something or if it's just simply not doing anything?
Yeah, it's not like how is your interpretation? Because still 72 is like a higher momentum, right? Still it
Yeah,
does
it's
it,
still
it
up.
has a momentum. Yeah.
It's still up. Yeah. I mean, we had a pop today with all the weakness across the other markets. That's not surprising. You can see I have this beautiful price high labeled out. So I'll move the labels to the right so we can see the origin. Oh, look at this. Beautiful. It came to the middle. 42.51. We kept it 42.58. Now, does that mean you should do something bearish here? No, it just means we're at a pause point and we potentially had a little third drive up. So this is where I'm going to go change this to intraday, like 60-minute, and see if the RSI there is giving me anything. So here, I'll take away those other old lines because they get cocked out of place. But look, we came in bull resistance on the 60-minute chart. That doesn't mean we're going to be selling now, but the last time we came in bull resistance, the market continued to push higher, so we can use that information to just monitor the short-term lows on the price here and see, okay, we got overbought, but I think all the RSI here will do is work off overbought conditions while price still goes higher. That's my outlook for this market, since I think that's also what you're asking me for.
Yeah, kind of like, but what in my mind is a little bit confused is like if you see the zones 40 to like the bull support, but whereas the bear resistance, it has a higher number, right? So technically it has a higher momentum, but still we are considering it as maybe it could be like there is a resistance. So I just want to understand, is that something your
But we're
sauce
not in
recipe
the bear
or
resistance anymore. We're above
no?
it.
I'm just saying if it was in that zone, why would we think like it would like stall, or it's something your interpretation of the zones?
I don't know if I'm having a hard time like further answering. Is anybody else understanding better what Gopal's asking me? Because you
No,
all
like
learned it, right? I created it.
Can I add?
Yeah.
I think what he's saying is how do you gauge trading these zones, right? Like
Okay.
how significant is are the zones to you? I think that's what he's asking.
Is that what you're asking, Gopal?
yeah, like why it is a like a bear zone, like because still the
What?
momentum is more down.
Okay. All right. Let me give you like a little background to like why this is the way it is. But the thing is, it's never going to be as simple as trading between the green and trading between the red. If this was that simple, I would just sell you guys a flash indicator that does it. And why would I teach you any patterns or anything? Do you see what I'm saying? Okay.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be what you maybe were thinking, which is why you're getting confused. But here's the thing. Look at this 10-year, your market. Whoops. Oh God, right. Too many things. Here we go. Let's just go back in time. Notice how it started to diverge near bear resistance. Then once the bear market in yields unfolded, look, the first peak was in bear resistance. That's the way I interpret it. I use it to tell me, oh, is the new set of people, bulls or bears, really in charge? Yeah, the bears are dominating by holding bear resistance here. And every time it came to bear resistance, it was making another move lower. And it got so weak, it couldn't even get back to bear resistance. So for me, this is where the advanced concepts come in. This was a hole think of moving between the zones, actually not really advanced. I teach you this, the red zone domination. Like search that term in the portal. Let me show you actually. So in the portals, you can search any term I'm saying, okay? So we can go in 4 zones, we can search and we can type red zone domination. So we can find the lesson that has this. It'll take a second if it's, I'm sharing like my screens and all this stuff. Okay, red zone domination. Is it in here? Is this in advanced 4 zones? I don't know. It's hard for me sometimes to remember where everything is. Okay. Zone domination is a term that I've taught. I swear it wants to make me look bad right now. It's fine. I'll find it. Or if somebody like Chris P, I only ask you this if you have your portal handy, if you can look and see, where do I teach the zone domination? Is it in regular 4 zones or is it in advanced 4 zones? If you have a moment. If not, I'll figure it out later. My point being, Gopal, coming back to here, that's mostly how I use this. And then if you were watching this, okay, downtrend, 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 but wait a minute, we made a new low. And for the first time since this downtrend, RSI made a higher low. That was the first warning that this down move might be slowing. That's it. Like the zones are there to give you context to what the price is doing. The zones you don't just look at with blinders on. I don't know. That's the best way I can answer because I don't know.
I understand now. So I was like wondering, like, yeah, the value of RSI is more. It technically should be higher, but the zone is lower.
I see. I don't really care about the value itself,
Okay.
except for where it
Okay.
tells me the location.
Okay, got it now.
Okay.
So
So my
you
first
divided
step
that
is
into the
evaluate.
zones, and that's from your observation.
Yes.
These came, but not the actual RSI value,
Yeah,
because
the
RSI
reason.
value.
Yeah, no, good question. I'll show you this. So everyone, this is good insight for all of you. The reason the zones exist, this is what I was trying to say before I got distracted by searching, is because in a bearish market, bears are stronger. They will not let the power get that high. So they will keep things in the lower part of the RSI. Because think about it. If a market is very weak, it should get more oversold, right, Gopal? It should dig deep towards that 0 of the RSI.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. And the same thing for a bull market. If the bulls are in charge, and I'll just use like blue for this, then they should get the market more overbought. That's why we're not just looking at 3070. No, we're looking at this bull zone to this bull zone as where the bull market will live, because it makes sense. A strong market will have more overbought time and it will not get nearly as oversold as a weak market. That's why the zones work.
Perfect. I got it now. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Cash. I wasn't trying to give you a hard time, Gopal, but I was like, oh man, I got to crack this question. Like, I don't want to leave you hanging. So we did it. Okay.
Yeah, I hope it's not just me. I think it could be, yeah.
No, it's
This
not
would
just
be a
you.
system.
Like,
this question could be like, because the value is higher, but the zone. So yeah, now I got it. Thank you.
you're very welcome.
You know, Hima, you highlighted something that was very important. In the end, you talked about divergence, right? You know, so when you're looking at a trend, it's going up, it's going up. I mean, what if it is the bull traders that are taking it up? It's not even gotten to their zone, so price could still continue to go, right? And if you're thinking of waiting for the market to pause, you want to visibly see a divergence, right? You want to visibly, like Hima saw in the bottom before it started to pull back up, right? So
well, that was a clue. Like, it won't always happen. You will always get a divergence at the end of a trend, but when you do, that's really helpful to be ready. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm just making sure, Cash, that you know that for me, I don't need a divergence to think the trend is going to change. It can be one of my other tools that tells me that.
yeah. The pretty points.
Yeah, pretty points like the forecasting or a pattern.
Yeah.
Or even candlesticks.
And also, Hima,
That was
sometimes
the mental blocker I had.
divergence might not show on this time frame, but if you go on a lower time frame, there's probably a divergence there, or even a higher
Yeah,
time.
potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, you were saying you had a
Oh,
you have a
I
block
was
with
just
that?
trying to interject and just say that I second that. That was a mental blocker I had. that,
About what
that
specifically?
about that you answered earlier. It's like, oh, do I always need a divergence to
Yeah.
actually with my forecast? Yeah, it's great to have it, but you don't always need it for a
Yeah.
reversal to take place.
Yeah, I think so just so you all know, this material that's in the 4 zones, I did reteach fresh in 2021, I think, versus what was originally in there, which was from 2017, which is the first time I taught it. So like it was a 4-year update, but I'm like, 2017 to 2021, 2021, 2024, 2025. I feel like it would do everyone well for me to potentially in the coming months reteach this live with all this little stuff that we're talking about in here today that is not new questions, but it's like when I used to teach, I don't know, I just didn't think I needed to clarify that. Does that make sense? Like, I think some of these things I think are obvious, but it's like because I've been doing it for years. So just an idea I'm putting out there because I want as much clarity in this course as possible because like this is like the fountain spring that then gets you guys ROIing in what I teach you, which makes me happy. Like, I don't want to just sell you a course and then just sits there, you don't make money off of it. Like I want you to make your investment back and then some. That's why those goals are here, right? Got my setup. I mean, Cash and Crispy, you guys should be knocking all these off, right? Made my investment back. Like this matters to me. So just wanted to put that out there. It's a little mental note for me as well. Okay, how are we on time? You know what? We officially end at 9:30, but like if there's any other new questions, I don't want to leave anyone hanging. So I will do a last call now for new questions. And in the meantime, I will look at the chat really quick. Okay. Jan says, oh, it's funny, Jan, you say that your football analogy is perfect for demonstrating the RSI. Yes, and that's in the tutorials in the RSI. That's what I was trying to convey here. And just looking back and seeing, you are honest and upfront. Well, thanks. I try to be. We're trying to be the opposite of politics in this town hall today. Okay, so Chris P has a question. If anybody else does, this is your chance to put up your hand in the react button down below. I will stay if there are more questions, okay? I might need another eyeball break, but I'll stay. So Chris, do you have a...
Oh, just a quick question. What was Gopal's issue and like what was the resolution? I know you were talking about it. I missed the punchline.
What was
Gopal's issue?
Oh, Gopal's issue.
Maybe I can answer.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, like so my like usually RSI the values mean higher value means it's higher momentum, right? Like so why would we are taking like a zone, the red zone here for the bearish zone, right? Above the bull support zone, right? So that was my question, but she did explain like it's just a zone where in the bearish market, like the bears want to pull it down. So that's the zone where the price could reach and it would not go above that. So so that was the zone. So it's her interpretation. So it's not about the actual RSI value. So I was thinking in terms of RSI value, like it has a higher number, so the momentum is higher. So technically it should go high from there, but why we are expecting to go it low. So, but the analogy was because in that zone, technically if it is in the bearish market, that's where it could do a
Yes.
turn.
So I'm going to show you, and I'll put this link in the chat for anyone who has 4 zones. This is the exact lesson. Like when Jan was saying, this is why this works and what it explains. Okay, so we'll just take a quick second here. I'm showing you a piece of a lesson in my course, okay? So reason I'm showing this one is because it uses football. And because I use the Packers and the Bears, it works great because of the market. So we have a football field, and then the Packers, that's our family team, go Pack Go, is on one side, and the Bears, Chicago Bears on the other, right? Like market bears. Do you see, Gopal, how the Bears, when they're playing on this side of the field, they don't care about the stuff behind them. They only want to move toward their end zone. And the Packers, dressed in green, it's the same way. So when you take that football field, you turn it around and you drop an indicator, that's what it explains as well. The Bears want to stay lower on the chart of the RSI, right? And the Bulls want to keep things overbought. That's or they will get more overbought because that's when they have more power. So this is the lesson that will reinforce what I just said to you. That is why I brought it up. Okay, I just dropped in the chat link. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Gopal?
I understand the that I went through the course, but somehow in my mind the RSI, because you're using the RSI indicator, that value got stuck, and now it's clear that value has no bearing, but the zone has bearing is the key. So we need to understand the zone has
Yes.
the importance than the actual value. So yeah.
Yes, it's hard if you're coming from using the old RSI previously, because you have to deprogram yourself. Oh, 72.44. Oh, we're over 70. Oh, we're overbought, blah, 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 or below 30. I don't really care what the number is, only that it tells me where it is in the zones. Yeah. So, okay. I think we've beaten that one up, but Chris, you understand now what we resolved there?
Yeah.
That's what you would ask.
Just
Sweet. Okay.
just one more follow-up. There's also bearing between green and red zone too, right on either side.
So there's technically like multiple areas here, but I really focus on the main zones. So the space between these two red, space between these two green, space between these two red, space between these two green. Everything that's not that, I just generically call no man's land because it's just not as significant. But things can still happen there. You can still have divergences there and reversals and stuff.
Right.
Is that what you're saying? Like, I don't have specific names for them.
No, I'm just wondering, like, if I'm just wondering, there is bearing though, like, you know, if the zones are between like the bear support, or sorry, the bear resistance and the bull resistance, and you know you have the RSI trapped in there, you have a sideways market.
Yes. Yes.
And
When you
vice
see
versa,
the
and the
RSI
same
get
thing.
trapped and it's not in a distinct zone, that usually tells you either you're not at a place where you want to take a new action. Like if you're not already somehow taking a bet, Gopal, that yields are going up, it might be too late now. It might be, right? Because it's already extended. It's at resistance. That's the trend line. I'd rather buy or whatever, buy on a pullback.
We all know they are going down. Like J. Paul has already started. So yeah.
But that's long-term stuff. If you're trading day to day in bonds, right? That's not going to be something that has like a immediate impact.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm here still. I'm going to just take an eyeball screen break and I'm looking at the next question. So we'll skip to Jan. How are you? You live in a cool named place. Was it Kamloops or Kamzook or something? Kamloops. You can unmute or you can type in the chat if you can't speak. You there, Jan? I just asked you to unmute. Okay, I'll come back to Jan since he's not unmuting and I don't see a question in the chat. So, Blade, go ahead. I'll come back to Jan.
I appreciate the time, and it's back to the old when do I go live thing. My trading plan with NQ has shown me over the last 30 to 40 trades that my numbers are good, but when I think about logging on to my prop account and actually doing live trading, my heart races, my palms get sweaty. I have a hard time breathing, and it's like,
Sure.
Oh my gosh, it's ready. And you know, I breathe through the straw and do all the things that
that I've taught you, yeah. Okay, so
how do I know when I'm ready? You know, when am I ready? Do I just do it and take my lumps?
You don't have to open the door to like infinity. I'm going to trade live forever now. Do it with a measured goal. So if you said I had 30 to 40 trades where I had solid numbers, like you're tracking your, like, right, you're downloading the trades, you know what were profits, what were losses, your average win, your average loss, like you can calculate all that, right? Because you don't only want, when you have a sample of trades that you've done, you don't only want to know that you made money on the balance, you want to see the relationship between the wins and losses. Because if it's just a razor thin margin that you're winning by, that's not going to necessarily apply. Okay. So if you did that, why don't you say, you know what? I'm going to open up my prop account and trade either for X amount of time live or X amount of trades, and then I'm going to stop and reassess. Not
Okay.
till infinity. That
Right.
might ease some of the pressure. Because the only way you're going to trade live is to trade live.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's been my hang up this last month. But the thing about NQ is you have to be right on the stop. I set my stops first
good.
and then do my stuff, and it works well because it will get away from you real quick,
Okay.
quick. So
Yeah.
thank you.
No, I think you know, if you want, because this is an important moment for you, even though our coaching is like formally done, if you want to have a thought about that, email the address, you know, you used when we were coaching with your idea, and I'll have my assistant save it out for me. I have like an
Sure.
executive assistant who now handles my
Nice.
email, which is like the greatest thing ever in my life.
Like good for you.
He goes through things first and then I go. She might be even here, Kylie. She's
Yeah.
awesome. So thumbs up
Okay.
if she's here.
Thank you.
You can just email us there, okay, with your plan, and I can just be like, okay, here's what I do, here's what I keep. Okay.
Great. Thanks.
Okay. Seeing some new names. You're welcome, Blade. All right, seeing some new names with questions. Sarvan, how can I help you?
Okay, thank you so much for this one. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, first time when I heard, like, it is completely like blown my mind. I have no clue, to be honest. I didn't understand, but right now I'm trying to thing is like I'm do my trade on the apps. My basic thing is like how can I incorporate these RSI or loss forecasting inside the app? I do on Robinhood or Charles Schwab. Just want to know like
Okay.
how can I do that on an app, not in a computer and stuff. That's a basic thing. And
Okay, is that first part of the question? Okay, go ahead.
and if possible, I would like to look at TLT 20-year bond, like what it might be in the near future.
Okay, so for the first part of your question, why are you trading on your phone? Is it because you don't have a computer that is too much of an investment now, or you just want to be able to trade on the go?
Trade on the go.
Okay, why is it important to you to trade on the go?
Because I might be engaged in my work and also so I can trade only when I can and stuff.
I understand.
Like
okay. So I will this is actually a good question for others here, because others of you, type a Y in the chat if you have a corporate job that you're at basically 9 to 5 and you trade around that. That's going to be a lot of you. Type a Y if maybe you are a small business owner or have like a contractor situation where you have jobs that keep you busy and then you get free time. You don't have consistency. Okay. This is a lot of people. So what I'll say, Sarvan, is you can plot the regular RSI on an app. You can try to do the same thing Brian asked earlier about like adjusting the settings to try to match my zones. And in the beginning, just observe it and see if the patterns and the movement make sense to you on your phone thing, okay? But I will say this. I have lots of folks here who have day jobs like you, but they make their trading around their work so they can do it on a computer so that they can plot more information, so they can have more reliability and they can have multiple screens if they need. Like, I only have 2 screens. So by the way, somebody asked before, I'm looking at you in a webcam on my actual computer laptop. I have a gaming laptop because it's good for graphics. I do a lot of video and all this stuff, right? It's a PC because I use TradeStation, and TradeStation is very annoying on a Mac. I have an external monitor, also Asus. That's the brand I like, ASUS. That's what my dad liked, so that's what I like. And I can't imagine trading off my phone. I have TradeStation off on my phone. If I'm like eating breakfast or something and like some news comes out and I want to see if the ES popped, I'll look at it. But I'm just telling you, Sarvan, you may come to a point where you need to make a decision to be able to fully trade with the full information. But I would say just observe the regular RSI on your Robinhood app. You can draw the zones in if you can adjust it. Otherwise, just observe and see if you start to get a feel for it. That's part 1. Does that answer that question?
sure, definitely.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
even sometimes I feel I'm like imaginarily drawing the lines and following your RSI zones for the past.
Yeah.
2 or 3
That's what I
months.
had to do for years when I
But
saw this stuff, when I
it
couldn't
was really
plot it.
tough.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it's actually following the path which you have been doing that. Like when it go to a bear zone or it goes to a bull zone and stuff, it's retracting. I am following the particular thing on couple of stocks, which was really helpful. But it was really tough for me to actually predict like when it's going to go down or up and all those kind of things. So that's why that was my first question. But
Gotcha.
it helps.
Okay. So just a little side note, and I'll answer your second question. Anyone who's direct messaging me, I am looking at who's here. I'm answering questions. I'm reading the chat. I don't have the bandwidth to have a one-on-one conversation right now. So if you can't reach me, don't worry. I have a team. You can message Anna B. She's here. Okay. And she can help you. You can also email support@Hima Reddy, whatever question you have. And by tomorrow, you'll get a response. Okay. So I'm just letting you know if you message me directly. I wish I had that like 4-dimensional sense, but I don't right now. Okay. Coming back to Sarvan's question, well, your second question was about, we just went to the 10-year yield. Is your question about a bond as well?
20 year.
Oh, 20-year. Okay. So let
It's
me see if I can
TLT
get
is a
pick a
I
symbol.
think
TNT.
yeah.
Okay. We'll give it a try. So just TNT.
TLT.
TLT. Dad, I know that. Okay. Sorry. Clearly my pre-town hall snack is fading. My sugar's getting low, but we're good. Okay, I like it. Ah, yes. Okay, I know this. So, correct me if I'm wrong. This is a extra leveraged ETF on the 10-year bond. Yes?
Yes.
It's mimicking 10-year bond, but it's like
No, it's not leveraged, but
not
it's a
leveraged?
regular 20-year. Yeah.
Oh, regular things? Okay, thanks, Gopal. Okay. So this is 20-year bond, excuse me. Okay, not the 10-year that I'm thinking of. So the 20-year bond.
Yeah, it's between 10 and 30.
20 is between 10 and 30. Thank you. Yes. Like I said, I think my
Yeah,
brain is
obvious.
just getting a little fried. No, you're good. I'm just laughing that I couldn't do that math right now. That's kind of sad. All right. Coming back to the chart. As expected, yields are rising, bond prices are falling, right, Sarvan, right? So that makes sense versus the
Yes.
yields chart we just looked at. If I already shared my view that even though we're getting towards overbought in the 10-year, there's still room. I think there's still room for this to go lower, even though it's already in the bear support. I don't know how much more unless I do a forecast. So I'm going to draw some levels, and somebody here who knows loss forecasting will tell you what to use to forecast, because this is fun for me. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My numbers are ugly, but who wants to let me know what forecast Sarvan should draw? Shout it
3
out.
to 5 from 4.
Gold star. Was that Gopal?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So 3 to 5 from 4. Now again, why? I have to change my little annotation. Why and what this is and what it means and how do you trade it? That's in the loss forecasting system. I demonstrate, but I cannot teach everything at the same time. But this is what I'd be watching, okay? So you connect those two highs, you clone here. And this isn't all that loss forecasting is, by the way. If your guys are like, oh, I can just do that. I'll draw my own lines. There's more to it. But this is the essence. So right now, we're looking at October 29th. And I think there's something else we did today where we had October 31st as a target. So that could mean that like a week from now, it's just like a high sensitivity point in the market in general for potential trend change, even if it's unrelated markets. So that's my answer for you, Sarvan. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, awesome. Great. We have John. I'll answer you, and then I'll do one more roll call to see if everyone's good. So I'll ask you to unmute, or you can type in the chat.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts about the upcoming election?
Okay. Anything specific, or do you want my general?
Well, you know, things can go one of two ways.
Right? Okay, so here's
And
my thoughts.
I'm just, I want your overall kind
My
of,
overall. Okay.
yeah.
So first off, I think that whoever wins this election, because the economic policies and their overall views are so different from each other, that there will be a lot of volatility in the market reaction to it. Not volatility necessarily being bad and dropping, right? I just think there's going to be a strong reaction. And I see both candidates from like economics point of view. Let's say like tariffs, okay? Like they both have views on tariffs. They both have ways they want to use them, but they are kind of like coming at it from different sides. So there's all these individual pieces in their economic plans. I'm just going to speak to it as it relates to our trading, right? Okay. Because like who to vote for, whether you should vote, like you're all grown people, that's your decision. I'm wearing purple today. Blue plus red is purple.
I understand that. I just want to know, you know, how volatile is it going to be?
I think it's going to be pretty volatile. I don't know that for sure, but I think we should be prepared for that. I think that it will take several weeks for whatever happens to like have its initial effect on the market. I can't remember exactly what it was like in 2020 when Biden won, but I can remember in 2016, like market went berserk, like shot up around the election, I think, and possibly the day after Trump won. I don't remember. So to answer your question, I think we're in for a ride. And I think the techniques that we use can still be applicable, but I think we have to be extra careful with them. Does that answer your question, John?
The other thing that President Trump did.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of really scared about getting in.
I understand. And it sounds like, and it's fine. It sounds like you have like the news on in the background. You're trying to like absorb what's going on in the world, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm actually been digging around for some resources. Let's just call it that. Because like, I teach you all, but I am on all the email lists of all the other trading educators and software people just like you. Like I am also a trader, right? It's like, what were those old hair club for men commercials? I'm not just the president, I'm a user too. Like it's real. So I am just as like, what's going to happen here? And like, do I really want to be day trading this the same way? Or do I want to have some supplement thing? Or do I want to use it for the family money I help manage? I have found something that I think will be a very useful tool that's complementary to what I do. I will be doing a live presentation on it. I've been saying this in a couple of emails on Tuesday, October 29th at 1 p.m. And it's by another trading educator who also has like a family situation where like him, his sons, like they all trade, they have some tools and stuff. And I watched his presentation and I was like, oh, I want this. And I bought it. And that's why I set up a TradingView account finally, because I want to bring this in. So I'm going to share more on that then. If you want to come learn about it, that's when you can do that. And October 29th is also my wedding anniversary. So I asked my husband, is it okay if I do a webinar on my anniversary?
Well, happy anniversary.
Well, thank you. He's like, yeah, it's a Tuesday. We're not going to celebrate till Saturday anyway. I said, okay. So I agree, John. It's a little scary, but that doesn't mean you can't keep studying. You can't keep refining your skills.
Well, any insights you have would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I'll share them as I get them. Like if you check your emails from me, I post to my website blog posts now. Like I do this more often because we updated the website and it's a little easier for me. So just the plain Hima Reddy website. Okay. You go here, you hit blog, whatever I'm thinking, you're going to see here. Did you see this, John, that I posted last night? It was like literally exactly. I was freaking out.
No, I haven't checked lately.
Oh, okay. Then you and everybody, I'm going to put this blog.
I will.
Here. It's just a quick read, but this is how I felt. And this is what I was thinking. And the past couple of weeks trading in the morning, I'm not getting the setups like I normally do in the first 30, 45 minutes. And after like 20 something years of doing this and not seeing them suddenly, it's like freaking me out that they're not happening. It's just different. It's just different. So everything I am dealing with and reminding yourself or you guys of and doing myself is here. I write this. This isn't like some copywriter on my team. Like this is me sharing with you all. So just keep an eye on your email. And if you're ever in doubt, like what is Hima thinking, come to himareddy.com and go to blog. And you'll have
I'll
your
check out the blog post. Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay.
So John, the other thing is just to do trades 30 seconds at a time, and it doesn't matter what we do.
Yeah, short-term trading definitely makes it a little bit different because it's not like such a overnight impact. But John, what do you trade? Do you trade stocks, like a swing trader? Is that the situation?
I'm an NQ trader, and you know, I try to get in for a you know, a little bit longer term than just scalp.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
You got more moxie. I appreciate that.
Yes, I do.
Good
Yeah.
on you.
Okay. So there are a lot of folks who are still here who we have not heard from. This is your last chance because I'm going to need some dinner in like 15 minutes. But I want to make sure everyone's served. So while you have your last chance to raise your hand, I'm looking at the chat and I'm going to answer some quick questions that I see. So I see a question saying, can you explain the trough versus peak with the momentum indicator? Yes. Okay. So let's just, let's dial back because it's easier that way. So let's just say this thing is going up, going up, going up. And you see this situation here, okay? When you have the RSI value, whatever it is, and then you have two lower values on either side, that's a peak. The significance of the peak depends on where it is in the zones. The significance of the peak depends on if it's in a pattern, but that little thing right there is a peak. And this particular peak right here is at 68.80. So Samuel asked that question. Does that make sense so far? All you have to do is put your cursor and be like, for this value I think is a peak, does it have higher or lower on either side? Okay. Then market keeps moving, keeps moving. Oh, look, here it made a trough. How do I know that? Because I see an RSI value, 44.18, and I can see the day before was higher and the day after was higher. Until then, this was all just repeating values going lower. That's a trough, 44.18. This trough happened to be in the bull support zone. Let's see if the market traded higher from there. It only did a small correction and then it pushed lower. So just because you have the peaks and troughs in the zones, that alone isn't always going to be what you take action on, but identifying the peaks and troughs is the first step to being able to trade patterns on the zones. So I don't know if the person who asked that is still here, but I saw it and it was a good question. Okay. Matt says, my broker told me to always expect rises around the election. I don't know what the direction will be. I just think there will be a lot of activity, but you know, me and your broker can have different opinions. That's fine. God, instead of doing all this with you all, like I remember Morgan Stanley was recruiting me to be a financial advisor. I almost worked as an analyst for Elliott Wave. Like these were things that were happening in the time before my father passed away, which was the pivotal moment when I decided to just stop everything and teach. So like you're talking about Elliott Wave and I'm like, oh my God, I almost worked for them. Like Bob Proctor was almost my boss. Like that's so funny. These big financial houses and like, you know, being an advisor and just like allocating your portfolio, I was like bored to tears, but I was like, all right, this is work in my field. So I appreciate that you're all here so that I can do this instead. Okay, I think it's time to get us wrapped up. So we went a little bit over, but covered everyone's questions. I don't see any more raised hands. Final call. If you got a question, this is your moment. Get it in there. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up with a couple favors. First of all, anybody who's on, oh, go ahead. Stanley, is that you?
Yeah. So I have a question. I do intraday trading. So kind of like trade for 30 minutes first, 30 minutes because
Okay.
of my work. And I'm in the West Coast, so I try to do that quick, 30 minutes. What is the best time frame to is it a 5 minutes or?
Okay, so the best time frame to trade is the one that you have the speed that you match, that you feel comfortable with, because for some people, 5 minutes too fast, for some people it's too slow. So if you find that like 5-minute setups, you have the sync with it, right, to see them, that's fine. There's no one good time frame over another. It really depends on your personal speed. But I will say, if you observe that time frame and you're not getting setups on it that you can identify, then it's not going to be good for you. Maybe if 5 minute ends up being too slow and you need to look at a 3 minute or 1 minute, or maybe 5 minutes too fast, you really are more of a, hour to hour trader and you want a 15-minute or 60-minute. So there's no one answer for that. It's like kind of trial and error of applying your setups, your analysis, and seeing where it lands. I personally used to trade like a 5-minute chart a long time ago. And then I was like, this feels so slow. I don't know why. Then I went to 3-minute and it still felt slow. So now, like a crazy person, I do 3-minute with 15-second trade management. But in this environment, the 15-second chart looks like it could be a daily chart because there's just so much activity. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I trade on the 1 minute, but oftentimes I kind of get a lot of fake outs on the 1 minute. So, and then the 5 minutes, I don't usually get a lot of setup with the zones.
Then I'll look at the 3-minute for sure, because it's in between those two. So it could reduce your fake outs and it could also give you the, reduce the fake outs and give you the setups with a little bit more management. So try the 3-minute paper trade, but don't do real money. Just try the 3-minute, see how it goes, and then you can adjust.
And then so when I use the zones, I have the advanced I use the zones anytime it gets into the bear lower zone.
Yes.
I expect I look at it hoping that okay, it's gonna bounce back, and then it goes a little bit, and then it goes back down. Kind of like today it did happen.
Stanley, you're painting me a picture that I can't see. So okay, like, which is totally fine. Are you in our Facebook group? Are you in our product forums? Any of those?
I think I'm in the Facebook group.
Okay. I'm going to put the link to the Facebook group here, even though technically it's only for our course members. Y'all took the time to be here with me live. So if you're not in our Facebook group, that's technically for members. I'm inviting you in now. This is a great place to share charts and everything. Okay. And I will drop that link in the chat. So you would have to be in Facebook to be able to join, but there it is. Okay. And Kylie, who's here, she's the one who lets people in these days. So she'll let you in by tomorrow, if not tonight. In there, Stanley, I want you to include a post of what you just said to me with a picture. Then me and your other traders can help you figure out if it's the time frame or if something else. Does that sound good?
Okay. Yeah, it does.
Okay. Awesome. Oh, thank you, Matthew. Says, thank you for your content and your humble spirit you continue to put into it. Please continue to address the psychological aspects in future content. It's very helpful in encompassing the swings the market can throw at you. Okay, that's a good segue into my little like wrap-up slides of just resources. I'm not selling anything. I'm not doing a whole webinar now. Would anybody like to see my little summary of how you can keep getting some education? Just free stuff. Yes? Type a Y. Some of you know about this. Blade for sure knows about this, and you'll see what I mean. But I just want to make sure everybody is aware. Okay. So the first thing I'll show you is, because Matthew just commented on this, he's like, please speak to the psychological aspects of trading. I do that a lot in my short video content. So it's been, and I think it's been like a year now, finally, we're coming up on a year of me consistently, almost every single day, having my team post out short videos. And these are the main channels. So I'm going to just paste these in the chat. Okay. Pick your poison. Okay. YouTube is like the safe zone where you can just go and find my shorts. But if you use any of these other channels, this is where you should follow me for more of this sort of education. Okay. So I'm trying to copy and paste this here. It's not really letting me do that the way I want. So we're going to do it a different way. 1 second. All right. Here we go. Now I can do it. Okay. They all just went in the chat. Okay. So there's Facebook, like my business page, that's Hima Reddy CMT. There's Instagram, which Facebook owns. There's TikTok for any of you Gen Zers out there. I'm just kidding. Lots of people are on TikTok. And then YouTube Shorts. Like this is what I'm saying is the safe one because it's like, it's not like the other social media. Okay. So you go here, and if I don't know if I can open the page up from here. Yes, I can. There's all these videos, usually of me in front of my bookcase, and I address a lot of mindset things in a minute or less. And you can watch and repeat. You can come back. You can sort through these. And I say Blade knows because I appreciate very much comments and gives feedback to a lot of these videos, and I give that feedback back. So John says highly recommend. I think he's talking about the short videos. Okay. I appreciate that, guys. And then if you want, there's some additional channels. These don't get like out in the world, these don't get as much traction, but they're there. So that's my trading methodologies of W. Gann Facebook page, which was from my original book that I published in 2012. Okay. And still the same book page for my second edition. And then there's the, where is it? Okay. Threads, which is Facebook's version of Twitter, LinkedIn, and then Twitter itself. So I'll put those in here if anybody prefers those. Okay. So I'm not selling you anything here. I'm just saying, if you want to like get more education and get those daily reminders from me, follow me in any one of these. You get my videos, and that should help. And for our session today, where's the recording going to go? This is a question we get. I want to make sure y'all understand. So I made a slide for this just to be super clear. Let me find it. Ah, here it is. Okay. So this recording, I've been recording the whole time, will be loaded into our YouTube channel as a public video. So like the way you get the little market updates in from me, this whole big thing will be in there. If you have any of my current courses, or if you're interested in any, you can go to this himareddy.com/trifecta trader. It's a free study guide for how to move through. And I'll bring it up really quick just to show you. So I'll put that in the chat. So that is like it's just a PDF, okay? But it's like a great little guide for those first few products in that lineup that I showed you. One of them's loss forecasting, the other one's 4 zones, and the other one's my S&PH Pro. The S&PH Pro is where I also do like live trading once a week, market research. Okay, so if you go to that Trifecta Trader link, again, free guide, download it, it's PDF, it has like a little trader assessment, and then this is a study plan. If you have one, all, any in between of the beginning ebooks or the course and the other courses. Okay, I'm like starting to be frozen because I'm realizing my husband turned up the AC because we sleep in the cold. I'm like, why am I shaking? I'm good. Okay, it's 10 p.m. I think we've had a great time here. I am so thrilled you're all here. Now, please do me a favor before you leave. Anyone who's still here, if you're presentable for camera, can you please turn it on so I can take a screenshot? Pretty please. Okay, so I'll give you all a second to turn your camera on. Anybody who can. There's not as many as I would like, but yes, okay, you're turning them on. Yes, yes, please turn them on so you can get a little parting shot here, and I'll take it. As long as you're not undressed, you can turn on your camera, okay? I don't care about lighting. I don't care about how your hair looks. Amazing, thank you. All right, so obviously if I take the screenshot, your name and likeness is going to show on here. Just give me a nod if I have your permission. Yes, you're good with that? Okay, thank you. Okay. Oh, won't let you turn on your camera, John? I'll ask to start video. There you go. I don't think we have like a block on that. Okay. Okay, awesome. Is anybody else wanting to turn on and not getting to? Okay, we're good. So let's start with who we have here, and I'll take a quick picture of all of y'all, and then we will wrap up. So just trying to scooch us in. Okay. Patience as I feel like it's like 1982 and I'm like setting up the tripod and I'm like, hold your smile. Okay. So here we go. Get your smile on because it's going to take me a second screenshot. So now you smile and hold it. 3, 2, 1. Okay. This is pretty cool. I'll show you guys what I got. It's just a little sliver. I just want to show everyone. I don't know if I got everyone. Here we go. How's that look? I wanted to get as many faces as I could. Okay. Let's see if yeah, that's it. That's fine. I won't force it again. Next time I will make it mandatory that you all come on camera so I can see you as I talk to you. Unless you have a really good reason not to be. That's everything I have for you. I so appreciate you guys coming. I really just wanted to connect and like see where everyone's at because it's weird times in the market. I myself as a trader, I'm like, okay, like what's happening next? So if you have any parting comments or shares, now's the time. And then we'll close the room in a few minutes. And like I said, we will have the recording out on the YouTube channel.
Been great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Blade, for being here, always being supportive. I appreciate your persistence in your dream and making come true. And I'm excited to see what happens next.
Your problem child.
You keep saying that. I don't say that.
I know.
No. And thanks to everyone who
Thank
asked
you so
questions.
much.
You're very welcome, Bobo. Appreciate it. I love your name. It's awesome. You're gonna have to tell us, like, where did that name come from? Is it a nickname? Is it your whole name?
Is your own name?
It's your whole name?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Thank you.
Okay. Frank says, thank you. You should do this quarterly. I'll consider that. Frank, I will consider that for you since I see you diving into your ES and joining me in the labs. So if you're finding it valuable, then happy to do it. Great. Okay. Amazing. I want to get you all back to your beds, families, pets, whatever I need to. So we will see you in future events. Oh, that's the one thing I want to tell you. If you want to stay on top of any other events we have, always go to himareddy.com/events. I made this link today. So Anna, you'll see it in the backend system. I don't think I broke anything when I did it, but it's basically takes you to the same page as what is on my website. Okay, so just to show you real quick, if you go to the website and you go to live events, you can do that, or you can go to himareddy.com/events. And that comes right here. So this was us in our town hall. Then I have this save the date I mentioned, Tuesday, October 29th at 1 p.m. And then here's our upcoming schedule. I will be having a special forecasting. I call it a tune-up because like all we focus on forecasting, probably sometime next week. Keep an eye. And then we have Futures Trading Lab where I focus on the E-mini S&P, monthly group coaching, advanced monthly group coaching. And next thing you know, it'll be Thanksgiving, Christmas, and a new year. Okay. Well, Gopal, I have the Futures Trading Lab that I go into, but I reserve my meetings now for my one-on-one students because that keeps me pretty busy. So this is a taste of what it's like to get to interact with me and coach by me one-on-one. And if that's something that's ever interesting to you, y'all can just reach out to support@himareddy.com and happy to have a conversation. Okay. Waving bye. Have a good night. Take care, everyone. All right. Good luck out there. And I'll see you soon.